Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
William, every day is a winding road, and sometimes those winding roads are scary.
Is that like a Sheryl Crow song?
Yeah. Every day is a winding road.
Wow.
I get a little bit closer to feeling scary.
Well, crows are ominous.
Ooh, that's true, they are.
The scariest kind is the Sheryl Crow.
Yeah. So we're going to launch right into it. Today, I have a mini monster madness. Bam! I'm going to be going first. So my mini monster madness ties into my main subject for tonight, and it is all about Long Island.
Okay.
Which is in New York. Not that far away. Well, because of traffic, it's kind of far away. And a big chunk of our family lives in Long Island. And this subject was brought to me by our nephew, Robbie. So while they were here at William's house for Thanksgiving, on the way out the door, Robbie was like, "Aunt Kristen, you have to look up Mount Misery and Sweet Hollow Road." And I was like, whoa. Like,
Mount Misery.
Way to go out on a high note, Rob. I admired his panache. It was like dropping something sweet and then leaving left me wanting more.
Sweet Hollow Road.
Both great names. So I finally looked into them and I found a story connected to them that was exactly a mini monster. It seemed to be on the cusp of having, enough to be a whole story, but not quite enough.
Okay.
So first, I'm going to tell you about Long Island Mary and her grave.
Okay.
So there is this story on Long Island. There's a grave for a woman named Mary. And there are like a bunch of different stories connected to how this woman may have died. So some say that she was tried as a witch and killed. Some people say that a jealous ex attacked her, that she had a mental break, killed her children and husband, and now she can't rest peacefully, that maybe she was possessed, or she had a mental break and killed her family, like mom, dad, siblings, and was hung from a tree that looks dead all year. So that's like a variation of the legend where like not only is there this grave you could find, but there's a tree somewhere that was the tree that Mary was hung from.
Yeah.
And like never looks good.
The dead tree.
Yes. It's never thriving.
Yeah.
So, it's said that her grave has a birth date, but no death date. And if you find the grave and you shine a flashlight at it, her face will appear.
Oh, wow.
So there are multiple graves in Long Island that have the name just Mary on them that are super old graves. I don't think that they necessarily all have like birth date and no death date, but these graves in different towns in Long Island of Mary's are all said to be the Long Island Mary's grave.
Right.
So it's just kind of like a cool legend around there. People like search all around for it. There's a grave in Stony Brook, Long Island, where like fratty dum-dums go pee on it to show how they're brave. Like
the fratty dum-dum was a person or something. I was like, what is this? That's like an Archie character. Fratty dum-dum found it.
Fratty dum-dum.
What the hell? All right.
I don't even think that's an Archie character. I feel like that's like a 1920s like comedian character.
Here comes Fratty Dum Dum.
Yeah, something like that. Sounds more right. Like dumb bros is what I'm saying. They're like, yeah, I'll go pee on Long Island Mary's grave, no problem. So they'll do that, and then rumor has it they would get it in a car accident on the way home because they have to swerve quickly to avoid a ghostly figure on the road.
Oof.
That's Mary. And she didn't
back at you.
She didn't like that pee-pee.
Yeah.
So
that fratty dum-dum pee-pee.
Right.
Really got her steamed.
Depending on the time of day or night, that pee-pee may have been steaming itself.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Adds an eerie feel to the whole thing. I wonder if any fratty dum-dums ever peed on the grave and it's steaming. They're like, oh, you guys, she's coming.
The ghost of Mary.
It's not a joke while they're like, zipping up.
Wait up, guys.
Yeah.
They got their pants around their ankles.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, God. So, Will, one of the locations where it says that Long Island Mary's grave is in Sweet Hollow Cemetery, right off Sweet Hollow Road.
What a name.
Let's take a drive over there, shall we?
Oh, literally.
Well,
let's get in the car.
Rob was just there on Tuesday night, and I have some quotes from him. Okay. Hold on a second.
Great. This is awesome.
I know. Okay, so he said I took Sweet Hollow Road Tuesday, and it is a really creepy road, especially when it's dark and there are no other cars around. Smiley face. Because he's so cute.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I would like to, I mean, it's in Huntington, which is where part of our family lives.
Yeah.
So we absolutely could go by there. It sounds like Sweet Hollow Road and Mount Misery. So there's Mount Misery Road, and kind of that whole area is called Mount Misery. It's not like the town name, but it's like known that this is the Mount Misery area, I guess.
It's amazing that that's almost then like a nickname for the area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, this series of towns and whatever is all collectively known as Mount Misery.
Right. Maybe it's just the area right around Mount Misery Road, but I saw multiple things that were like, it's not just the road, like this area is called Mount Misery. There's Mount Misery Road and there's Mount Misery.
Wow.
Yeah. So they run parallel to each other. There are two like narrow roads that have trees on either side of them. So they're kind of inherently creepy in that way. And they run parallel to each other, and they're less than a mile apart at the most. Like the furthest far apart they ever are is still less than a mile. And they're both just like kind of creepy, dangerous roads. And it seems like the stories that I'm going to tell, apply to both of them pretty much. Like there aren't that many stories that are just about Mount Misery Road or just about Sweet Hollow Road. It's kind of just about the area because they're so close. There are a couple of exceptions, but I'll get to them. So Mount Misery or Mount Misery Road was originally called that because it had like back in the day, like really, really steep rocky hills that split many a wagon wheel. And,
oh God.
Splitting wagon wheels was mentioned.
I've been playing the video game Red Dead Redemption on PlayStation 4. Friend me. I'm Will Rogers 2000. My account just got unbanned.
What did you do?
I did nothing wrong.
Did you make somebody do like a sexy dance like in Sims?
No.
Or whatever?
Ooh, I don't even like the
Right?
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
Yeah,
it's a thing. I've seen people do creepy stuff in video games before. But no, so I've been playing that game and it's so boring.
Oh, really?
There's it took like 15 minutes. You break a wagon wheel and then you have to watch a cutscene while you fix it. And I was like, can I just ride this horse and jump on a train, or can we do something?
That's amazing.
Crazy. I've had enough of wagon wheels.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Mount Misery has too.
Yeah.
So and the land was like
with wagon wheels.
Yeah.
At the moment.
I got to tell you. And the land was like, just because it was like so steep and rocky and everything, it was super unfarmable.
Yeah.
So people called it Mount Misery because it just like sucked back in the day. And it said that Native American tribes may have considered the area cursed and off limits, like just a place to kind of avoid. So Mount Misery Road itself is split in half by a park and the Northern State Parkway, which we've traveled frequently.
Of course.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just thinking, the thought struck me as you were saying, you know, like that this land was considered a place to like just avoid, a terrible place to be.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, first of all, you talked about the dead tree before. It made me think of Blackwood.
Duh.
That makes me think of Blackwood as well.
Uh-huh.
And then it made me think about the fact that I think that has probably been said about every single place on the planet.
Oh, what? That's like haunted and like off limits?
Right. Yeah. You know, like
Yeah.
like the Native Americans, the Native populations avoided this place because it was unsafe. I feel like there's a legend like that about every single spot on the entire planet.
Well,
it's like, where's the good place?
Yeah.
Do we ever find?
Well, once like colonizers came in, honestly, like nowhere was good.
That's true
for them. So
Avoid
like maybe
all of this.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of joking by saying that, but like maybe that has something to do with it because we made things patently unsafe for them.
I think it probably has something to do with basic storytelling.
Yes, I do too.
Thrill of terror.
Of course, but I also wonder if there's anything to that. Like everywhere became unsafe, basically.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when we came in here and pushed out the native population. They seemed frightened of the region.
Yeah, they seemed to feel
there must have been a curse on the land, not that we are the curse.
Right, they seem to feel this is off limits for some reason. I don't know why
all this cutting and burning.
I don't know why they'd feel unwelcome.
And they're scared.
Right.
I wonder why.
They're so weird. Worst. So that road in particular is kind of split in half by a park and also the Northern State Parkway. And one side ends at so it just like isn't really connected to stuff. Like Mount Misery Road is just this stretch between two things, if that makes sense. I'll explain. I mean,
it only has two stops.
Yeah. Like it's just this one stretch is like connected to other roads and stuff. So one end of it ends at a horsemanship school, and I wrote headless.
Headless horsemanship. We'll teach you how to be a headless horseman.
We were talking about scary New York, Sleepy Hollow. And then the other abruptly ends at what I read was a mound of dirt behind which is the park.
Seems like an arbitrary thing to even call the end of the road.
I mean, I can see it was part of a news article that seemed to be about like legends of this stuff. And I can see like the reporters went to, if you Google, it'll be one of the first things that comes up. I didn't write it down, but like the reporters went to Mount Misery Road and Sweet Hollow Road. And so they were driving. They're probably just like, there's a pile of dirt at the end of this thing. Here. I feel like it's worth mentioning.
Wonder where this road leads.
Oh, dirt.
Oh.
I feel like it's worth mentioning. So Sweet Hollow Road runs continuously, meaning like it connects to other things and other roads and stuff. And it's crossed by the overpass for the Northern State Parkway at one point. So like a bridge goes over it, which we'll factor in later. So here is what Rob said to me about, I asked him, I Googled a little bit and then I was like, so what have you heard about these roads as a local? And he said, I've heard of a couple lady in white and that there was a group of kids who had a suicide pact on the overpass. And he looked into it a little for himself. So then I looked into it a little bit further. So there are a lot of lady in white stories here. And so I'm going to kind of go by category. And it's been a while, but Will, I have a bits and bobs category again.
Oh my gosh, I've been missing it.
Me too. So here are the women in white stories. We kind of touched on them a little bit last week when Will was talking about scary Texas ladies. Women in white is kind of like a subgenre of ghost stories. There are just a lot of ghost stories about ghostly women wearing white, mostly around roads. It seems like women in white stuff kind of comes up. Yeah. And this is no exception. So one of the biggest deal stories is there's no record of it. And by the way, there's no record of any of the things I'm about to say at all.
Of course.
Sometimes there's like a little something, but there's absolutely no even inkling of like, maybe they meant this kind of factual proof here.
I feel like there should be a disclaimer on the entire podcast. Like Guide to the
Totally,
Unknown
but
is
like
where necessary, we can attribute stuff. But by and large, like everything on the show it's built on hearsay.
I think people know that, but this one in particular, like they were like multiple sources I looked up said that we have researched this and we find no evidence of, for example, a mental asylum built in the area. There's a big part of the legend is built around that. And it doesn't seem like that mental asylum was, doesn't seem like that mental asylum was built along Mount Hollow or Sweet Hollow Road. I mean, Mount Misery. Damn it. Let's go on. Okay. So at this mental hospital, which probably didn't exist, it's said that a patient burned her room down and it ended up setting the entire building on fire.
I was going to say, how do you just burn one room?
Yeah, I said that weird. She set her room on fire and ended up burning the whole building down. So it said that you can see a woman in a white hospital gown and messy white hair wandering in the woods along the road. So there are a couple wandering in the woods stories. I find that particularly freaky. That like, it would be obviously one thing and super scary if you were driving on the road and something appeared in front of you. It's freaky to me that you could be going at like, I'm assuming that these roads don't have a super high speed limit because they're kind of windy and narrow, although you never know. But like that you could be driving slow enough to like catch a full glimpse of something just in the woods.
Oh, 100%.
Like in the periphery behind kind of like bare trees and stuff. That's almost scarier to me than like overt.
No, I could not agree more. I mean, honestly, like that goes back to like, I've got a theory, an untested theory that ghosts, if they exist, they're meant to be experienced in your periphery. Yeah, you're not supposed to get like a full eyeful of these things. They're supposed to exist. Like there's also, this is super weird. I'm sorry for going on this tangent. I think about this not infrequently. I learned at some point in school about the rods and cones in your eyes and how the cones in your eyes help see color. But they're all focused like at the front part, like think of your eyeball as a sphere. Yeah. They're focused like all at the front part here. So anything in your peripheral vision is actually in black and white. So I know generally what color skin you are.
Well, it's white, so you're all set. Yeah.
True. Yeah, exactly.
Very pale.
Kristen in black and white looks the exact same as Kristen in real life.
Pretty much.
But like I know what color lipstick you're wearing, what color shirt you're wearing.
Yeah.
So my brain is filling in the color detail for you, even though you're in my peripheral right now.
So cool.
But what's actually happening is that anything off to the sides is in black and white. And I always imagine the peripheral world is a step out of what you're actually seeing dead ahead in front of you.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the reason why I think that shadows and ghosts exist somewhere out here. Because you're seeing, your eye literally sees things differently to the side than it does dead ahead.
Is that definitely true?
I believe so.
Because like what it reminds me of is the whole thing with like taste buds on your tongue. Like I don't know
Right.
it actually,
Yeah,
but let's say like the front is bitter and the back is sweet or whatever. But it's not like if you have something sweet, I don't think that you can't literally taste sweetness on say the left side of your tongue if that's not the sweet area. I would think that it's just more concentrated in that sweet spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would think that maybe there's concentrations, but it's not actually just like black and white over here, color over here.
Well,
I could be totally wrong.
No, you're right, because let's
okay.
bust this theory right now. Peripheral vision isn't actually black and white.
Oh, okay.
Cones outside of the fovea, I guess that's the field of vision sort of thing, are less dense and more widely spaced than they are dead center, but not absent.
Okay, so
it's distinctly nowhere near as good.
Right.
But
It's
it's
exactly
not flat out black and white.
It's exactly the same thing I'm saying. It's just like not as good at sensing color, basically. Just the same way that places on your tongue are not as good at sensing bitter or sweet or like whatever.
Well, also like dogs' vision, they say is black and white, but it's not really black and white. They see like blue and yellow. They don't see everything.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. So it's like sort of a misnomer of a generally true kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I can still fudge that fact to make my theory work.
I think that still totally works for the theory.
Yeah, basically
your
boils
peripheral
down
isn't
to
as strong as your forward vision, so things
are
can kind of
screwier in the peripheral than they are dead ahead.
So maybe it's almost like your defenses are weakened in the peripheral.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like things can kind of sneak in more easily than right ahead.
Yeah, and actually, true fact. Chris and I have talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this on the show.
Oh yeah.
If we have not talked about this on the show,
I think we have.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Kristen and I have been seeing shadows lately.
Yeah. I think that
like motion.
I think you mentioned it on the show, and then I reacted to it because I was like, "Me too."
Really?
Yeah. I had a weird thing happen to me that I'll tell you later. I don't even want to. I don't even want to. It makes me. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll tell you later. It's strange.
Okay.
It's very cool. I might be becoming psychic. Is all I got to tell you.
That's all I need to know.
It's an ongoing situation.
I don't want to hear anything else about
it's developing.
That's all I need.
Okay. So, okay, so about women in white. So the first one is the woman who may have been in the asylum, in her hospital gown with her messy white hair in the woods. People have said that they've also seen a woman in white who, I'm saying this kind of backwards. There's also a story about a woman who was walking home from work on one of the roads and was hit by a car. And it said that your car may stall while you're driving on the road on its own, so you don't run her over.
Oh.
Which I really, really like. Like I don't know, something happens to your car that's like, bleh, like the car can sense her instead of you. Connected to that story, I didn't see anything about like her appearing as an apparition. It's just that your car will stall, and it's because it doesn't want to hit the ghost lady.
Yeah, like getting hit by an EMP, like knocking out all the electricity kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
And so people say that one in particular, the one walking on the road who stalls out your car, that could be Long Island Mary of Long Island Mary's grave.
Huh.
So now this is a roundup of stories that have to do with the bridge/overpass of the Northern State Parkway, on Sweet Hollow Road in particular. So if you park by the bridge and flash your lights at the bridge, it's said, like what Robbie was referencing, that you'll see the ghosts of bodies hanging of teenagers who had made a suicide pact with each other. Again, no record of that being a thing whatsoever. There's also a story of a young boy who was killed, either on the bridge or on Sweet Hollow Road, depending on who's telling the story. And based on that, you may see a boy sitting either on the bridge or on the road as you drive by. It's also said there was a woman on the road who was killed in a head-on collision. And so if you park, so this is one of those like activity things. So if you park by the bridge and you put your car in neutral, she will push you uphill to keep you out of harm's way.
Now, I've heard of things like, didn't you talked about Clinton Road?
Yes, this is very similar to Clinton Road, both of these stories.
Yeah, Clinton Road in New Jersey. Kristen talked about it on a previous episode. Wasn't that one of the things that your car will move uphill rather than downhill? And it's like almost like a weird phenomenon that's explainable, but it's like...
I don't think so. I think you might be thinking of 13 Bumps Road.
Oh, really?
Which we covered, or I covered like on like early episodes, like our first batch. I think there's something having to do with that in there.
I'm familiar with that sort of story because I guess that is somehow a way your perception is tricked. It looks like you're facing uphill and your car is just rolling there, but somehow the incline is such that it keeps your car in motion. Right.
That's not the case for this one. People try and just like nothing happens. It doesn't seem like it's like a trick of gravity or anything. It's just kind of a legend, and then it doesn't pan out.
Maybe she's sick of pushing cars around. You ever think of that?
Over it. That's true. Maybe
she's working for you.
Used to do it.
I'm not a joke.
Yeah, I'm not like a fun prank with your friends, your fratty dum-dums.
Yeah, what am I, sticking around on the physical plane to amuse you?
Yeah, I'm tired. Let me have fun.
Yeah.
All right, so William, now we've gotten all the way to bits and bobs where I find some of the most fun stories that have to do with this area.
Great.
So if you get pulled over on Mount Misery Road or Sweet Hollow Road, you might want to check the back of the police officer's head if he bends to write you a ticket. It might be blown off.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah, totally. Also, you might see a rumpled-looking man walking along the road swinging a basket. But don't look in the basket. It's full of the heads of missing people in the area.
Huh. Why would I look in the basket?
It's weird for somebody to be carrying a basket. I can't say that it would be impossible for me to see somebody walking with a basket and me want to take a peek. How many people do you see carrying a basket?
How big is this basket?
I see it as a pretty sizable basket, like an Easter basket for a spoiled kid.
Okay, you could fit one of my head in that.
It's a really big basket.
That's a big basket.
Maybe it's a couple of heads.
You have any idea how heavy my big fat head is?
I bet it's not that heavy.
Let's find out. Get a knife. Why would I look in anyone's basket? I'm
telling you, I would look in a basket.
I really don't think
a basket is such a weird thing to carry. A rumpled-looking man swinging a basket?
Let me take a look in that basket, rumpled man.
Yeah, that's such a strange accessory for somebody to be having. I'm taking a look in the basket. There's a hellhound that's been seen lurking in the woods. So a very, very like dark looking doggy wolf thing with red eyes looking at you.
Cool.
Death omen. And then there is Sally Sits Up.
Ooh.
So this is a woman who lost control of her car and she hit a tree. If your headlights flashed past that tree, we're not sure which tree it is. So look alive, everybody. You might see a ghostly figure sit up. Yikes!
Ooh,
that's why I saved her for last.
That is good.
Right?
That is wonderful.
So thank you so much, Rob, our nephew, Rob Holden, for telling us about Mount Misery and Sweet Hollow Road. This segment brought to you by Rob Holden.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
There's a creepypasta that I really love. And an aspect of it is a girl peeking out from behind a tree, shining a flashlight in the woods, looking for someone, and you see someone sticking out from behind a tree. I'm going to have to find that and post it.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, or if anybody knows what I'm talking about, send it to me. I think it's called a game of flashlight tag.
Okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Sweet.
Everyone look that up.
Cool.
That's great. That was great, Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Oh, I was confused. Was that the mini monster or was that flat out your topic?
Long Island Mary's grave was the mini monster, and it led into my topic.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
my topic was Mount Misery and Sweet Hollow Road.
Well, that was dynamite.
Right?
Dynamite. And the next time that we're in Long Island, we absolutely
definitely
have to go to these places, right?
For sure. And we're due to go there.
Yeah.
They've come to us the last few times.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Okay, so Kristen, this week I'm going to talk to you about something that plays nicely into a conversation we had with a dear friend of ours.
Okay.
I believe in an upcoming episode of American Hysteria, you might hear the two of us speaking with host Chelsea Weber-Smith about Satanism.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk to you about a way that the Satanic Church at least some people say, a way the Satanic Church tries to seduce the minds of young people.
Oh.
Because, Kristen, right now, I'm going to talk to you about subliminal messages.
Oh, yes.
Do you know any off the top of your head?
Oh, man. I don't know if I do.
I know there are a bunch that are like pretty common. I've got a few that I think are sort of unknown or unusual uses of subliminal messages in movies, music, commercials. They're used all over the place.
I don't think I know any right off the top of my head.
Okey
So,
dokey.
yeah.
Okie dokie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about this.
I think, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think this is something that Chelsea might want to have as a topic in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is not by any means like a
Oh, no. I'm just,
dive.
yeah, no, I'm just saying that this is awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, first of all, it was funny because, like, in doing the research for this, it took me way back to the beginning of recorded sound. Because it was 1877 that old Tom Edison,
Yeah. That old rascal.
the inventor up the road,
That's right.
got around to inventing the phonograph.
Yeah.
1 year later, he is quoted as talking about his experiments with playing the phonograph backwards.
Oh, cool.
It took him 1 year to try that. Suddenly, I'm
he's probably just so thrilled that something's working. He was just like, I'm not going to tempt fate at all by messing with this. If I turn this crank backwards, I might break the whole thing.
True. But at a certain point, he listened to the music backwards and said that it was still melodious in many cases, and some strains are sweet and novel, but altogether different from the song being reproduced the right way. Which I think is...
I love that.
But it never really occurred to me that it wasn't until recently that we even could have done this, that we could have played things backwards.
Right.
You know, and that then went on to become called backmasking.
Yeah.
When you record something, flip it backwards, and hide it in music or a movie or whatever.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, in the book Magic, this is spelled Magick,
Doy.
Book 4, Aleister Crowley advised his followers to listen to records backwards as training for magicians, so that a magician can, quote, train himself to think backwards by external means.
That's awesome.
So literally people trying to...
Kind of makes sense, I guess. It's just kind of like getting your brain to notice or take in things in a different way. It's like building muscle memory to notice weird stuff.
Exactly. So if you're trying to study the dark magics,
right,
you better be playing that phonograph the opposite direction, the way Tom Edison did.
Yeah.
But he didn't like it.
No, it was altogether different.
Absolutely. So here are the ways in which this then became sort of popularized, because backmasking and hiding messages in music would later go on to be the focal point of court cases, total panic about what artists are trying to do to corrupt the youth. So here's where that sort of fun thing started.
Yeah.
2 places. One, the Beatles.
Right.
So on Tomorrow Never Knows, I'm Only Sleeping, and the song Rain, John Lennon, while under the influence of marijuana, accidentally played the tapes in reverse. And really enjoyed the sound.
Yeah.
He told...
I'm Only Sleeping is probably my favorite Beatles song.
Is that right?
I feel like it's like a sleeper hit.
It is a lovely song.
Yeah, it's a great one.
He brought it to the rest of the band, and he wanted to essentially have an entire song that was backwards. Then ended up paring it down and did certain segments backwards. Yeah. But their producer, George Martin, suggested not only reversing the music itself, but reversing the vocals.
Ooh.
So, Rain, the song Rain by the Beatles, is the first song to feature a backmasked message, which has this phrase: sunshine, rain, when the rain comes, they run and hide their heads.
Cool. Oh. So wait, do you mean that when you play it backwards, it intentionally says that? They figured out how to make the sounds of like blurp, blurp, blurp forward so that it would sound right backwards?
Yeah, I believe so.
Cool.
Yeah. And then, of course, there was the whole Paul is dead phenomenon. Hidden. You've talked about this in the past as well. On Revolution 9 and I'm So Tired, they have the phrases supposedly.
Uh-huh.
Turn Me On, Dead Man.
I love that one.
And Paul is dead, man.
Miss him.
Yeah.
Sounds so weird.
You can hear all about that in a previous episode of Guide to the Unknown. And essentially, from that point, once people sort of sunk their teeth into that, it just took off.
Yeah.
And musicians began hiding backmasked messages in tons of songs
That's
for
so
various
cool.
purposes. The other thing that made this especially popular was a little movie in 1973, one of the most hilarious movies the Zodiac had ever seen.
Oh.
The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Reagan McNeil is speaking in tongues, and they're recording like everything that they're doing, trying to figure out what's going on with this kid. Is she really possessed by the devil, or is she sick?
Right.
And one of the major signs that this is something supernatural happening to her is that they play the recorded thing backward of her speaking in tongues, and it's her going, "I am no one.
Oh my God.
I am no one."
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Wow. In the movie that happens?
I believe. Yeah.
Huh. I really don't remember.
And so, man, this set a fire.
Yeah.
People were, I mean, you gotta imagine how it probably really played out.
Right.
There are a lot of people who are very vocal about how this is the worst thing in the world. There are probably the vast majority of people were like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat, but it ultimately
about the Exorcist thing in particular, you're saying?
Backmasking, about any hidden message, hidden backwards in media.
Right. Some people probably thought this was like a whole new way to get out the worst kinds of messages.
Exactly. So in the 70s, the Christian right began insisting that there were subliminal satanic messages in songs like Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Neuroscientists claimed that rock stars were cooperating with the Church of Satan to place subliminal messages in records. And in 1982, 30 North Carolina teens and their pastor went ahead and claimed that most singers are in fact possessed by Satan.
Okay.
And held record burning parties.
Yeah.
So they could set fire to records.
Man.
In 1983, a bill was introduced in California to prevent backmasking that can, quote, this is from the bill, can manipulate our behavior without our knowledge or consent and turn us into disciples of the Antichrist.
That's amazing.
I believe that bill passed. And if there are subliminal messages hidden in a record, it has to be stated on the packaging.
Oh. I mean, that makes sense, I guess.
I could be wrong about that, honestly, but I believe that's what I saw.
Well, I guess what's tripping me up a little bit about that in particular is that if that has to do specifically with backmasking, not necessarily with subliminal messaging that's like hiding underneath the forward track of something. Yeah. I mean, couldn't you just not just never play things backwards and you're all set, right?
Well, but I think that
by this point they're worried about things that are living underneath the regular track that you hear.
I don't think that they're differentiating between those two possibilities, though. Like, I think the idea is that even if you're hearing reverse speech, it somehow is seeping into your, unconscious mind.
Right. Right.
But this then also became a technique that a lot of artists would use to censor their records. So if they said the F word, fudge, they would just reverse it. So they just go like, and now you're not really saying
that's true. I mean, I think they even do that on the radio. Like when they bleep things, it's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That was a funny noise.
So here are some awesome uses of backtracking that I found in music. Slayer, at the beginning of a record, hid the phrase, join us, join us, just over and over and over.
That rings a bell.
Beginning of a record. The band Cradle of Filth. By the way, when I say that I found awesome uses of this,
I know.
A little sarcastic.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so anyway. Let me tell you about this Cradle of Filth thing.
Definitely dated a guy who was into Cradle of Filth.
Oh, boy. The band Cradle of Filth released a song called Dinner at Deviant's Palace.
Cool. What?
Dinner at Deviant's Palace.
Dinner at Deviant's...
It's as if Deviant is his name.
Oh, okay.
Like dinner at Dave's house, dinner at Deviant's Palace. Anyway.
I thought that was supposed to be, I don't know what you call it, but when like, if you said the syllables differently, that there's a word there. I thought you meant there was something hidden in the name.
Oh,
no,
not
dinner
at all.
At Deviant's Palace like stands for something. Gotcha.
No, the thing that was hidden on that track backwards was a reading of the Lord's Prayer.
Oh my God. Backwards?
Backwards.
Oh my God.
I don't have to tell you what that means.
It's the Lord's curse.
Yeah, the Lord's curse. Soundgarden hid a backtracked message, backmasked.
Yeah.
I'm saying backtracked. I'm going to backtrace.
Yeah.
Anyway, they hid messages on their songs 665 and 667.
Right on.
Which was a song about Santa Claus.
Oh my God.
It was a parody of people who were backmasking things about Satan.
That's funny.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked that.
That's good.
Stanley Kubrick used reverse Romanian chanting in the movie Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, okay.
Which is just
Yeah.
odd and off kilter.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then probably the most chilling use of all was on 1984 album Weird Al Yankovic in 3D. Specifically the song Nature Trail to Hell. They say, dim the lights, they say, if you play Weird Al's Nature Trail to Hell backwards, you'll hear the message, Satan eats cheese whiz. Satan eats cheese whiz. I'm sorry. If you had children in the room while I said that just now, I want to apologize.
They're now corrupt.
And so that's backmasking. That's audio. But I want to talk to you about subliminal
awesome
images in movies a little bit, because there are other ways that you can deceive consumers, deceive
the mind.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Sweet as hell.
So there are several times in movies where they might suddenly drop in a single frame of something, and it might carry a message. It might be to unsettle you in some way.
Yeah.
Here are a few famous uses of hidden images in movies. The first one I want to say, because evidently this movie was the king of this stuff, 1973's The Exorcist.
Oh, yeah, the demon faces and everything.
I am Pazuzu.
Right.
The face, the pale painted face of Pazuzu,
Yep.
Flashes on the screen for brief moments.
I have a little painting of that in my library that you got for me.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not a brief flash for you.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Daily occurrence.
When Kristen's not here, she is standing bleary-eyed.
Yeah.
She has not slept in years.
Swaying just in front of this small painting of Pazuzu.
Yes. But so the face flashes on the screen a little bit. I believe they released the version you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Of The Exorcist, where they put it in way more times.
Oh my God, William.
Overkill.
You might remember this more than me. I mean, not that you were there, but just because my memory sucks sometimes. Remember that, not that you were there again, but like, do you remember the concept of the fact that I went to see the re-release of The Exorcist with the things you've never seen before? And that I went with somebody who was a friend of a friend who yelled out at the screen during it and then kept doing it?
No.
Oh man. Then this is a story that goes nowhere. I think he screamed like, it's going to be a bad, well, I'll censor myself.
Yeah.
He was like, that's one scary bee or whatever. And then everybody laughed. And then he kept doing, he'd be like, watch out or whatever.
God, that's brutal.
It was horrible.
That is brutal.
It was really bad. Oh,
man.
God.
That's what
I did that backwards crawl down the stairs out of there. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. That's a George Costanza.
Yeah. Yes,
trying to wow the audience with your sick lines.
Keeps going to different showings of it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yep. He didn't know how to quit while he was ahead.
We saw Halloween, 1978 Halloween in theaters just a few months ago. And it was like 100% it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun. I'd never seen that in theaters before. There was a woman sitting behind me who would like just say lines at the same time. Like
oh, I didn't hear that.
Like, yeah, the blackest eyes. And then she'd go, the devil's eyes.
We're like, yeah, we get it, lady.
We all saw it.
I mainly remember that funny sneeze that I couldn't handle myself over. William can perfectly recreate the sneeze if you wouldn't mind, very quickly.
So where the movie's winding down.
Yeah. And by the way, quietest movie ever.
Oh.
The volume on this thing was only like an 8.
It's true. And it was, Michael Myers is like, stalking Laurie Strode through the house. It's pretty quiet and tense. And then we hear a guy at the front left of the theater go, that's...
It was such a farty sneeze. I was quiet. I didn't disrupt anybody or anything, but like it took me. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Chris and I were sitting next to each other. This guy sneezed out his butt, farted out his nose. One or the other, I don't know. But I turned to see if Kristen heard it too. I wasn't sure. And Chris was looking back at me. You lost control.
It was so funny. I think I was shaking for like 5 minutes.
It was you absolutely were, and it was stunning.
I'm sorry, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
It was like beyond the point where
I know.
It had been like a long time since we actually heard the fart sneeze, and you were still going. It was shocking. It really possessed you, really taken over you.
It was so funny.
Like he was trying to fake sneeze to cover the fart. It didn't work. I don't know
It
what
was blended together harmoniously. Maybe the fart was supposed to be backmasked underneath the sneeze.
Oh my god. I bet you're right.
It all ties together.
Maybe it was two people sitting side by side who are really compatible. You know, they're really collaborating, creating a melody.
It's like a disgusting person's equivalent of touching hands in the popcorn.
And then he sneezed when I farted, and that's how I knew we were in love.
He was the one. Oh my god.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, sorry.
Shake it off.
Whew.
Shake it off.
Okay.
So, anyway, some other famous subliminal messages. That was like a subliminal message for everyone else in the theater because no one else acknowledged it in any way, shape, or form. But you know they heard it.
Oh, everybody heard it. That volume was way too low.
Forced it to be subliminal.
I was like paranoid that me rustling through my popcorn bag was gonna be too loud because the movie was so low, and then that guy does that.
It was wild.
Yeah. Anyway,
stunning. I wanted to just be like, we all heard it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Stop pretending.
Let's just acknowledge this and then move on.
Hey, pause the movie.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh
boy.
my God.
Okay. Okie dokie now.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, now.
Master of Horror. Anthony Hopkins? What the hell is this guy's name? Alfred Hitchcock. Holy crap. I couldn't think of this man's name. Alfred Hitchcock made the movie
the
Psycho.
AH.
Yeah, and Anthony Hopkins played him in that movie.
He did?
He did.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wearing a horrible fat suit. Yeah. Anyway, this show's ruined from here on out. It's over.
Now, same as in the movie, I'm just going to keep thinking about that sneeze.
It's true. So,
okay.
At the end of the movie, Norman Bates is in a jail cell doing his whole like, I wouldn't even hurt a fly, whatever. He looks up at the camera with his spooky eyes, and there's a sort of suggestion of Mother's skull overlaid on his face, but it's only really visible for like a few frames. Mm-hmm. It's not hidden by any means,
right?
But
it's subtle.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not clear if people would really understand what they were seeing at the time, or if he was sort of getting away with showing that the two people have become one. Yeah. Or that she is possessing him.
Yeah, it's very cool.
At this point. Yeah. The movie The Ring. Mm-hmm. The image of a ring, one single frame of a ring is just shown on the screen at certain points in the movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's very cool. I think I actually didn't know that until I rewatched it in the last year or something like that.
I was legitimately surprised as I was doing my research on this that I was not finding more. Mm-hmm. I would think that movies nowadays would be doing this left, right, and center. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, totally.
What are you talking about? Huh. But yeah, no.
Yeah, it's surprising.
The movie Fight Club.
Oh, right.
Where Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt, is sort of the id of, what's his name?
Oh, God, what the hell is his name?
Max Willis, whatever.
Sure.
So, whatever the man's name, Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Edward Norton is imagining Brad Pitt, but before he ever even meets him, because he believes he's a real person, he flashes in different scenes for just a moment or two. Right. Just for like a couple of frames, Tyler Durden will appear behind him in line at a store and then disappear. Yeah. And then
which is a very cool use of that.
Yeah, there's even a plot point in that movie of Tyler Durden splicing in frames of porn into movies that like families are seeing.
Right.
So that it's subliminally just like screwing with them.
Yeah, totally.
And then they even do that to the audience at the end of Fight Club. There's
it's a little meta.
One frame shot of a wiener before they cut to the credits.
Yeah. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool too.
Do you have the thing about the adventurers in here?
I do. Yeah. Yes, I do, because I have a whole thing about Disney.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But before we get there, I just have two quick other movie ones, and then we'll...
take your time.
The Shining. It's highly believed that Stanley Kubrick deliberately put impossible architecture into the movie.
Yep, I love that.
So subliminally, as Danny is moving around the hotel, he changes from floor to floor. We've talked about that in a previous episode as well. But the office that has a window, which shouldn't exist architecturally speaking because it would be central to the floor plan, yet it has a window to the outside.
Yeah.
Also, there are shots where there's a chair in the background, then suddenly it's gone, then it's back. And it's easy to point to that and say that it is just a continuity error between different shots.
Yeah.
I flat out think that's probably just flat out what it is.
I don't know. I mean, it definitely could be, but he's so meticulous.
I know.
Stanley Kubrick. Like, there are those pictures of him adjusting the cans, or what is it? There's something in the kitchen pantry or whatever. He's making sure they're all facing out.
Yeah, it might be for the Calumet.
It is. It's for the Calumet. But I don't know. I mean, obviously mistakes happen and everything, but he just seems so deliberate about things. I think it could be. And it could,
but nobody's immune from making a mistake.
Totally.
So,
but it's still the fact that it fits in.
It's fun to see it that way. Like I even heard somebody in the documentary Room 237 talk about how this disappearing chair is not a continuity error. It's in fact meant to be a sort of subtle nod to the idea of haunted mansions.
Okay.
Like ghost stories. That chair is moving around. Like a ghost took it away. But without being so overt as to literally have it float up out of the frame and be ridiculous.
Right.
It's just like things happen that you don't really notice and it's being caused by spirits.
I don't know if I think that, but I would think that I could see him just doing it to mess with the audience in a way they might not even catch.
Like
so they're just like
something. I just feel weird.
Yeah, something feels like it's wrong.
Something feels out of place.
Do you know about some of the cool things in The Haunting of Hill House, that show?
I have not watched it.
So this won't be spoilery at all for you and for people who haven't watched it, but they did a couple of cool things, probably even more than that. Like there are countless like BuzzFeed lists about like hidden this and hidden that in The Haunting of Hill House. And actually, like, I think his name's Mike Flanagan. He's come out for at least a couple of them, been like, no, this actually just is what it is, about something. But anyway,
why would he say anything?
It's like, there's a thing that's like a big theory that people have. Like I'm just not going to say it.
Okay.
It's kind of earth shattering, but he's come out and said that is not what you guys were saying it is or whatever. Not poo-pooing things left and right. But anyway, something that I thought was really cool is that for the set design of the actual house, they said that they put a lot of shapes in there that look like faces. So they don't look straight up like faces or whatever, but things that kind of like vaguely are that way, like wallpaper that has kind of like a face-ish design, doorknobs that have kind of like intricate filigree stuff that are kind of facey.
Do they have that door knocker from the Muppet Christmas Carol?
Yeah, things that are just like really subtle like that.
Yeah, I embedded subtle Muppet faces.
Yes.
Actually, most of the fruit in the movie is, of course, the singing grapes.
Yes.
Things of this nature.
Things like that. No, but things just like look a little face-esque for that same kind of reason, where it just be like, something feels weird about this. Like, it's not very obvious, but it just feels like the house is watching you, sort of. And then also, I don't think this is a spoiler because it's been talked about with so much. But, and I think it's fun to know going into it, there are hidden ghosts in the background of a lot of scenes in the first 5 episodes that aren't the focal point, but if you pause or look, you'd be like, yeah, and there's just like a literal ghost man in the background.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I have to get around to watching that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once I'm done with the Great British Baking Show, maybe I'll do it.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
In the movie Cloverfield, there are spliced frames to other monster movies. So you'll be watching the movie Cloverfield
that's cool.
and all of a sudden, without even realizing it. So, like it's found footage style.
Yeah.
So the frame will go like, it'll like glitch out looking. There's like hidden King Kong footage in there and stuff.
Cool.
They're just fun.
Yeah.
I like that. Good clean.
Yeah. We're just having fun here.
Now for some dirtier, I don't know, not great kind of stuff. Yeah. Body talk.
Yeah.
Disney.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah, the Disney stuff is very bawdy.
It's funny because it's such an urban legend in and of itself that every Disney movie hides some sort of an insidious or like sexual imagery kind of thing.
It's so crazy that it's true.
It's true. It is actually definitely true.
I have such a distinct memory of hearing the thing about something in The Little Mermaid and then going, I think with you in St. Louis to like research it. And we're like, oh my God, it's real.
That's Pavois.
Yeah, it's Pavois.
On the cover of The Little Mermaid.
Yep.
One of the turrets of this like sandcastle thing is a Winky.
Yes.
It's a weenie.
And also
whatever you want to call it.
The priest who marries them is sporting
a doink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think is the technical term.
I think so too.
Yeah. That one I hear is supposed to be a knee.
No. It's like long. It's
don't
definitely
know about that.
no, it's not an E.
Yeah, there are things that are not.
Yeah,
you're
sure.
Really seeing, like in The Lion King, Simba kicks up dust.
Yeah.
And it looks like it spells SEX in the sky in dust, and that was supposed to be SFX.
Yeah.
Because obviously a lot of these movies, these were children's movies, they were animated movies, but they were honestly boasting impressive graphical art techniques.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Really incredible work, and so some of these things are meant to be signatures by the effects team.
Right,
So
special
that one I do
FX.
believe is supposed to be SFX.
I do too.
That one I do believe is innocent.
Right.
The Little Mermaid ones, I can see how you could make an argument for ambiguity. However, I also think that movies are whatever the populace interprets something as being is true, even if it's not the artist's intent necessarily.
Kind of.
So I don't know if there was some creepoid designer doing these things or what, but certainly it's undeniable to look at the things in Little Mermaid, literally the things in Little Mermaid on the cover and the priest himself, and not be like,
come on.
yeah,
I mean,
level with me here.
If my recollection is correct, I think that priest thing is like pretty beyond debate. A knee. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember thinking like, all right,
but it's so dorky if it's a wiener.
Joke, people. Come on. No, it is dorky.
It's dorky.
Yeah, but I think that it's meant to be a dorky Dorcas.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Well, one that is, there's no debate whatsoever about this next one. You brought it up a little bit before, The Rescuers.
Oh my God, I know.
Hachi Machi. There's a scene in this movie. It's about friendly, happy little mice.
Yeah.
They're flying around on a bird. They're doing mouse stuff.
Right.
They got mouse business. And they're flying past all these buildings. But if you pause it, in the background, not in the deep background, right next to them in a building is an open window and a topless woman.
Yeah.
And it is real.
Yes.
It is actually 100% definitely there, true, removed for modern release. Just a topless lady in this kids movie about little mousies.
Right.
Yeah. And not to get into the whole debate of like, is nudity always perverse or whatever.
But it's not meant to be in the kids movie.
No, and it's not as if it was like some innocent, like, oh, I'm changing kind of scene. It was like...
No. It's like from...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a smut.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Who did that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
A dork.
A dork.
A dork.
A Tyler Durden.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a Tyler Durden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then also... No, maybe you're about to say the thing in Aladdin, the audio thing.
Down kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Aladdin is talking to whatever that tiger's name is.
Right, I don't remember.
Very quietly.
Yeah.
Kristen and I.
Yes.
You remember this?
Yes.
We cranked the audio.
Yeah.
Our father was like a total like techno file, audio file, whatever. Always had the best equipment. We always had like a big screen TV and a really intense receiver and surround sound.
Totally.
Kristen and I, when we lived in Missouri, dialed that sucker up to 11 like Marty McFly to listen as Aladdin goes, down kitty, take off your clothes.
Yep.
Go back. Did we hear what we thought we heard?
We must have had like an afternoon of doing this. I totally remember being in St. Louis doing Little Mermaid in this.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Because also we on our Laserdisc player, there was like a little spin dot.
Yeah.
And you could spin it around and around and around. But if you did it a little bit, it would rewind just a tad. It was very convenient. So I remember, down kitty, take off your clothes. Yep. Down kitty, take off your clothes.
So dumb.
But it's so weird.
And it's there. Was there.
That one I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I haven't looked at all this stuff.
What he's saying.
Did you re-listen to it as an adult, like online or anything?
No, I did not.
Okay. My memory of it, again, is that like that was there.
They will have to look these things up.
Yeah.
We got to do, there's like a Google Hangout thing or like a YouTube, Facebook Hangout, whatever the hell. YouTube and Facebook are the same thing, right?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Where you can set like a viewing party so people can hang out with you as you watch videos.
Right.
Maybe we should experiment with that and see if people would watch us.
Would we be
on these topics?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because would we be allowed to have that going in the background or whatever?
We can't put it on. We can't put it on iTunes or Spotify or anything.
Yeah.
Kristen and I watched some Zach Bagans clips last week during the live stream. We record this show live.
Yes.
Every week. Follow at GTTU Pod to see where and when. But we watched some Zach Bagan stuff after we did the official show last week, and immediately we got a copyright notification
Oh, really?
on YouTube immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't officially release what
Right.
we do, but we can do it for like a hangout for
Yeah.
no reason.
Yeah.
Because I don't know for a fact.
Yeah.
But my
Huh.
recollection is that it's just hard enough. It's just barely too hard
Yeah.
to make out what he's saying. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. All right. So I've got two other things. Welcome to real life. We're going to get outside of the theater.
Mhm.
We're going to put down the records. We're going to turn on the news.
Oh, okay.
Here are times that subliminal messages made their way into, I don't know,
Sorry.
real current events.
Yeah. Cool.
Current with an asterisk because these are very old stories.
Right.
All right.
Current events of their time.
Exactly. So let's go back 18, almost 19 years. George W. Bush is running for office. He wants to become the president of these United States.
Mhm.
They run an ad where on the screen they keep putting up these words like America, patriot, and then here are the things that we want to get rid of. Bureaucrats. And before the word bureaucrats fades off the screen, they take out the bureau and leave up rats.
Oh.
The word rats of bureaucrats is left on the screen for an instant. And then it's gone.
Interesting.
Mhm. Just to tie the idea of who George W. Bush is calling the
Uh-huh.
opposition.
Uh-huh.
They're a bunch of rats.
Interesting.
They're not just the people that we'd like to be because of our ideals. They're rats.
Right.
You know?
Huh.
Nothing was ever done with it.
Shady.
I have a feeling that a bunch of people made a bigger stink out of it than it really was.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have not watched the ad. For all I know, it's not even subliminal.
Yeah,
For all
it's
I
like
know,
overt.
It's totally overt. But
Yeah.
like, I thought it was that's
Yeah.
whatever. However you
That's
want to take
interesting.
it. Yeah, strange. And then this one.
Yeah.
Buckle your seatbelt because this one's kooky,
Okay.
spooky.
Cookie spooky.
And we talked about the
Bumpy
Zodiac Killer
righty.
for a
Yeah.
hot second before.
Mhm.
And in the movie Zodiac, of which I'm a gigantic fan,
Same.
they talk about how they did this whole thing where the Zodiac was going to call into this psychologist guy on television.
Oh my God. I love that.
Oh, it's so good.
Yep.
And he screams. And then the psychologist goes, "Who was that?" And he goes, "That was my headache."
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
That was
Whoa,
my
whoa,
headache.
That was my headache. Oh, everybody watches.
Oh,
if we
it's-
could do a
oh,
viewing
I-
party of Zodiac.
Love Zodiac. I ask Ryan to watch Zodiac with me too often. He'll be like, "We just watched that." I'm like, "I
I
know."
don't care. I love it.
It's so good.
Put on the hurdy-gurdy, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. Then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing songs of love.
You asked me to put on the hurdy-gurdy, man.
Who would have expected that to be a scary tune?
It really
It
is.
certainly is. 1978, we're going to talk about another serial killer and another odd way they tried to make contact with him and bring him in.
Oh, uh-huh.
Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, I bet I know who.
They ran a report about the BTK killer,
Yeah.
on which
Oop, sorry.
they embedded a secret message intended exclusively for him.
Mm-hmm.
The message was, "Now call the chief," and an image of a pair of glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, my understanding of what this is at one of the crime scenes of one of the victims, there was a pair of glasses upside down on the dresser. And they knew that these must have been the killers.
Mhm.
And they knew that he must obviously know that he left his glasses behind.
Right.
But I don't think that many other people did.
Yeah.
And they also theorized that the BTK would be watching this report about the BTK.
Oh, yeah.
And so within that, the programming, they would use the phrase, "Now call the chief," hoping that he would suddenly have the urge, would be unable to resist it, to make contact with the police and get another step closer to catching him.
Oh, man. I didn't remember that.
It obviously did not work.
Mhm.
He was not caught for another couple decades, something like that.
Right, but he ended up getting caught by his own hubris because he couldn't stop communicating with the police.
So it wasn't a bad effort.
No, it wasn't a bad effort at all because it was definitely playing to his thing.
Yeah, but certainly strange and not
Interesting.
something that I ever would have considered
Yeah,
happening. So that means to the millions of people who are watching that report,
right.
they were fully unaware
Totally.
that this was also a secret technique to
Yeah.
catch the serial killer himself.
I mean, I can't think of other examples, but I know that that's a thing. And maybe even just in fictional shows, I'm not sure. But that's definitely a thing I've heard of being employed as a way to kind of like lure in killers before, or like show them that you know something that they could only know, like saying something in a press release that the general public wouldn't understand.
Well, famously in Red Dragon, Edward Norton.
Man, Edward Norton's all over this thing.
He is. Max Willis.
Sticky little fingers. Yeah, I think it was Max Willis.
He plants a lot of misinformation about the Tooth Fairy to enrage him.
Right.
Hoping that he will target Will Graham and stay away from all these innocent people. And it obviously does
backfires.
Not go his way.
No.
He does get the pet, though. Freddie Lowndes.
Oh, the pet.
Anyway. He thought I was your goddamn pet. That's what happens in the book.
Yep.
All right, there you go. That's a bunch of subliminal messages, whether they are backmasking in audio only or subliminal images that appear for but a moment and they're gone in all your beloved media.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fun. And there's obviously a million other angles of this, all the court cases and stuff. I didn't want to get lost in the sauce on.
Yeah, totally.
There are hundreds, thousands, who knows how many instances of hidden images appearing in all forms of media.
Yeah.
Who is to say?
Yeah.
But, those are some of the big
This
guns.
is a good smattering of them.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so, taster's choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Well, thank you guys for hanging out. You can find us on all social media. We're at GTTUpod. You can find me personally on social media at Chillin' Kristen. William?
Yeah, try the sponge. Reverse that to find out what I really said. Yeah, try the sponge.
Oh. I thought you were just making noise.
Follow at Haunted Sponge. Donate to us on Patreon.
Oh my god.
Join us.
It's really fun to do.
It is fun to do. I will say, I got Kristen a Dybbuk box for her birthday.
Yes.
We might be doing something with Dybbuk boxes in the very near future. I do also want to
keep
say,
it locked.
Next week is our pre-Christmas show.
Right.
It'll be the Guide to the Unknown that comes out just ahead of the holiday season. So if you want to send us any scary stories, paranormal occurrences, you, a friend, a family member have ever had, they might be on the show next week, because we're going to do a comfy, scary Christmas story night.
Ooh, yeah. Looking forward to it.
So send those stories to gttupod@gmail.com or to @gttupod on your social network of choice.
That's right. Yeah. I'm also going to say, when this show comes out, the following Monday, we alluded to it before, but William and I are going to be the guests on the podcast American Hysteria, talking about the Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
So look for American Hysteria on whatever podcast app you have, and you'll hear me and Willie doing a little something different
Super
with
fun.
our friend Chelsea.
Yep. You can find links to all that on skylarkmedia.com.
Yep. I think isn't it skylarkmediainc.com now? Maybe it's not.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Do one of those.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it, guys. Follow us on social media. Join our Facebook group. We've been having a lot of fun in there. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah. So we'll see you next week for another terrifying episode of Guide to the Unknown.
That's right.
But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld. Go we.
Maestro.